One owner from New Blue Magnifique Paint. Come closer, come closer. I'm not charging enough to include delivery. This logo here stands for Formula Racing. Better than a Capri gear and faster than Neil Armstrong. You know it makes sense. Au contraire, Del Boy, au contraire. Even though this thing has had one owner from New, me, it's literally been driven by hundreds of people who can't drive. And the only thing this car has in common with Neil Armstrong is the fact it's done enough miles to make it to the moon. Well, almost. So here are some tips to help you buy a used car. And my first tip is not to simply go to your local used car dealer because, well, you're going to be limiting your choice to what they happen to have in stock. Search online and be willing to travel. In my opinion, it's worth risking a day of your time to find the right used car for the right price. Online, you can use Auto Trader. It has a brilliant search tool. Not only can you search via make and model, but mileage, age, even 0 to 60 time. The problem with Auto Trader is it's expensive for dealers to put their cars on it, which means, well, you end up paying for that when you buy the car because they have to transfer that cost onto you by putting that cost onto the price of the car. If you're looking for the absolute cheapest cars, well, Facebook Marketplace may be a good place to start. You can also use eBay as well. That's a good place for used cars, plenty of cars on there. It doesn't matter where you find your car. What matters is that you find the car you're looking for. The next thing to consider is whether or not the car is being sold by a dealer, known as a trade seller, or a private seller, which is the current owner of the car. There is a significant difference. If you're buying from a dealer, well, you have the Consumer Rights Act 2015 by your side. If there is a problem with the car, you can go back to the dealer. Make sure you let the dealer know as soon as possible because time does matter. The longer you leave it, the less rights you have. And don't just call them, put it in writing. If the dealer is not playing ball, then go to the financial ombudsman. When you buy from a private seller though, you don't have those rights. That private seller could have a car that needs an expensive repair that they're trying to pass on to somebody else. You buy the car unaware of this repair that's needed, you find out later, and there's nothing you can do about it. I don't recommend someone who knows little about cars buy from a private seller. It's better for people who are clued up about cars to buy from a private seller because they're more likely to know if there's a problem. Also, I don't recommend buying high value cars from private sellers either. Before you contact the seller of the car, there are 3 things you need to do. The first thing is to find out how much it costs to insure that actual car you're going to view. I'll leave a link in the description to Confused.com. It's a price comparison website for car insurance amongst other things. I like using them because it's quick and easy. And once your details are stored, you just log in and you can find out the price to insure a car very quickly and compare different insurers. They're not sponsoring this video, but it is an affiliate link, so if you click on it, depending on what happens afterwards, I may get a small commission, but it doesn't cost you anything. The reason why you want to get a quote for the actual car you're going to view is because you can have 2 cars that are exactly the same, or at least you think they are exactly the same, and one costs significantly more to insure than the other. So you may be thinking, oh, I've got a quote for that other car, this car's the same, it's going to be the same price. You go and buy the car and then find out, oh crikey, the car insurance is a lot more. So you don't want that nasty surprise. You want to get a price for the actual car you're going to view. The next thing is vehicle excise duty, or road tax as most people call it. The same thing is true. You can have 2 cars that appear to be exactly the same, but the cost to put road tax on them is vastly different, and that's because rules change, and also throughout the lifetime of the car it's going to be tweaked, and that can make a difference to how much it costs to tax it, and the difference can be great. And the third thing is to go onto the MOT History Check website. It's free to use. I'll leave a link in the description. You put the number plate of the car in and you can see the history of the car's MOTs. You can see whether it's passed, failed, why it's failed, and the advisories. Once you have found out how much it costs to insure it, tax it, and you've looked at the MOT history, now it's time to contact the seller. My tip is to have a list of information that you want to find out. List on screen now. You can add to that list or take away from it, it's up to you, but that is my advice. This is the information you really want to find out when you contact the seller. You can email it to them, or you can call them. I prefer to call them so I get an idea of what they are like. Are they answering my questions? Are they rabbiting on about nonsense for ages and ignoring what I'm asking them? How easy are they to deal with? Do I want to buy a car off them? Do I want to take a car back to them if there's a problem with the car? The most important information you're trying to find out is the car's service history and whether or not there's anything wrong with it. Now, most cars have a book like this, and in this book it will tell you what needs to be serviced and when, and there will be somewhere for the garage to write the date and the mileage of the service and then stamp it. It's better to look through the invoices though, because that's better evidence that the previous owner or owners have serviced it. Also, does it have a timing chain or a timing belt? If it has a timing belt, that will need replacing every so often. Is it due soon or has it just been done? If you're driving around in a vehicle with an old timing belt that needs replacing, well, that's a ticking time bomb. The engine could die suddenly without warning. And if the car has not been serviced when it's supposed to, well, that can cause irreversible damage to the engine. I don't recommend buying a car without a full service history because the engine is likely going to be more worn, but overall it's a sign of how that car has been cared for. However, when you're looking at the lowest end of the market, the cheapest cars for sale, it can be hard to find one with a full service history because the car is not worth enough to warrant spending money on it, not even a service. So when it comes to the cheapest cars you can buy, often they don't have a full service history. Sometimes though, it may be serviced by the owner, and that doesn't put me off. That's a good sign because that owner has probably taken good care of the car. But I would want to see receipts for the servicing parts as proof that they have serviced it. So you've actually made it to come and view the car. My next tip is to make another list. Look around the car and write down any problems you see with the car. Don't rely on your memory because you may forget some of the problems. When it comes to you making a decision as to whether or not you're going to buy the car, you want all the information on the list in front of you so that you make the best decision, and if you decide to buy it, you get the best deal. So look around from top to bottom at the paint. Is it damaged? Are the panels damaged? Look at the rubbers, look at the plastics, look at the lights. You can see here, this light has some crazing, these little cracks. I'll write that down. Look at the wheels. Look at the panel gaps. Are they even? They're going to vary in size, like the panel gap for the door is going to be much bigger than the gap for the bumper and for the bonnet. But what's important is that they are even. They don't get bigger or smaller when you run your finger along them. Look at the tyres. Are there cuts and bulges? What's the tread like? Is there much tread? How old are they? Find the date code just there. Week 20, 2024. Tyre manufacturers recommend tyres are replaced after 10 years. There is no law about that, but in my experience, tyres aren't very good after about 5 years. Check the brakes. As long as they're not hot, you can run your finger along the top like that, and when you get to the top bit just there shouldn't be a big lip. If you can feel like a ridge just here, like a raised bit on the end, that's about 1+ mil, over 1 mil big, that's a sign that the brakes are worn. But really take your time, don't just glance at it. Look around it like you're cleaning it. Imagine you're cleaning the car and you're trying to get every spot. That way you're going to see all the parts of the car and you're going to notice any problems. Also, you can look under the car. You can't see much these days because of all the plastic covers, but if there was an obvious problem, you'll likely see something if there's obvious damage or if there's a big oil leak. For the next thing, you don't need to know anything about engines. I've opened the bonnet because I'm one-handed at the moment as I'm holding the camera with one hand, and it's awkward to open the bonnet with only one hand. Even if you know nothing about engines, you can have a look. You can look at the fluid levels. Are they between min and max? If you're struggling to see any fluid, shine a light on it. The light from your phone will probably work and help you see where it is. You can check the oil with the dipstick, and also you can just look at it and see, is it like this? This is an honest engine. Dry and dusty. Is it super clean? Has someone steam cleaned it? Maybe to try and hide something, or maybe just to make it look better. Who knows? But a dry, dusty engine like this is usually a very honest engine. Oil should be on the inside of the engine, not the outside. You shouldn't be seeing oil in the engine bay. Neither should you be seeing coolant. Coolant usually looks like, well, when it leaks, you get like this salt buildup. It looks like a buildup of salt, white, sort of crusty salt. Unfortunately, from the top, you can't see everything, but you can shine a light down here and here to see if you can see any oil or any salt build up the coolant, which looks like salt. Even better, if you can get under the engine and have a look, that's going to show you even more. Oh, and I forgot, another check you can make, even if you know nothing about engines, is to look underneath the oil filler cap. Not as relevant these days because head gaskets don't seem to fail much these days, but if you take the oil filler cap off and look underneath it, and there's like a white mayonnaise substance, that's a sign that your head gasket could have failed. There can be just a little bit of white on there, which can just be condensation, but if there's a lot of white mayonnaise, that's a bad sign. It's a new day today, hence the different clothes. I ran out of time yesterday, I had to do a lesson. The next thing you can do is switch the engine on. Now, ideally, you'll get somebody else to switch the engine on whilst you look at the exhaust to see what comes out the back. But if you can't do that, you can just do it yourself. Get ready, get the door open, switch the engine on, and go around and have a look. Get to the exhaust and see what's coming out. Now, water's normal. It's okay to have a bit of water, and it's okay for the water to be a little bit sooty, a little bit black, but you should not see oil coming out the back. White steam, which looks like white smoke, but it is steam, is normal on a cold day, especially on a cold start. You'll get a fair amount of that, but you shouldn't have big clouds bellowing out the back. If you've got huge white clouds of smoke coming out the back of your car, that's a problem. When it comes to the suspension, it's unlikely you're going to be able to see much. No, I can't see anything. You could try and look under there, but still can't see much at all. What you can do is find a solid part of the car at each corner and give it a good push like this, push it down. And the car should settle fairly quickly. It shouldn't keep wobbling. That's a sign that your shock absorbers have failed if it does keep moving for a long time. What I like to do is open the door, because then I can get my hands on a solid part of the roof and give the car a good shove. And you see, it's settled quickly. Could you hear that squeak though? Your body is not likely strong enough to make the suspension squeak when you move it. So the squeak you can hear, if you can hear it, I'll do it again. That's likely the handbrake, and it's normal for handbrakes to make that noise when you're bouncing the car up and down with the handbrake on. Next thing you can check is the boot. See if it opens and goes up and stays up and closes properly. Needed to try that a bit harder, didn't I? I'll do that again. There we go. In fact, make sure all the doors open and close. Make sure all the doors lock and unlock, and check all of the windows, electric windows or manual windows, do they go up and down? And when it comes to checking the boot, have a look underneath the boot floor. And you can see if there's any signs of damage. If there was obvious damage, it'll be sort of like these metal bits down here maybe pushed forwards. You'll be able to see it doesn't look right. Check for the spare wheel. Is it there? What condition is the tyre in? And also rust and any water that may be getting in here. That can happen. This one looks all good though. When it comes to checking the interior, take your time. Don't be rushed or distracted on this one. Check absolutely everything. Anything that has a function, make sure it functions, make sure it works. If it doesn't, add it to the list. So check all the seats. Do they move as they should, like up and down, forwards and backwards? All the functions of the seats, are they working? The seat belt as well, do they work? Do they retract? Are they permanently twisted? Sometimes where someone's worked on the car and they've taken the seat belt out and put it back in, they've not put it in properly and it's twisted permanently. Shouldn't be like that. It's not good for safety. You want it to be flat along your body. Also, when you get in the car, make sure you can get a comfortable driving position. You don't want to buy a car that you can't get comfortable in. Does the steering wheel move as it should? Electric mirrors, quite common to fail or be a bit sticky. Touchscreen, are all the functions there working? The sound system, the speakers, the heater, the air conditioning. Hard to check the air conditioning on a cold day, but when it's on maximum cold, the air coming out the vents should be between 3 and 5 degrees Celsius. So that's about the temperature of something that you've taken out of the fridge. That's how it should feel. Check the 12-volt socket. Sometimes they fail and you don't want to find that out just as you need to charge something. Check the wipers, the washer jets, front and back, the interior lights, the sun visors. These things fail quite often and become broken. The light works as well. Take your time, look at anything that moves, anything that has a function, and make sure it functions. Glove boxes don't always stay closed when you close them if someone's broken it. This one does, so check that as well. Really take your time, and any problems you find, add it to the list. Now it's time to test drive the car. If you're buying from a dealer, this is usually more straightforward because the dealer is prepared for this, but it's still your responsibility to make sure the car is legal for you to drive. You can't say to the police, but the seller said it was fine. You're driving, you're responsible. When it comes to buying from a private seller, well, make sure the car has tax, make sure it has an MOT, and make sure you've got insurance. You need to do this when you're buying from a dealer as well, but it should be more easy. If you're buying from a private seller, well, you're going to probably have to sort out your own insurance. And I'll leave a link in the description to Confused.com test drive insurance. It is an affiliate link, so depending on what happens after you click that link, I may get a small commission, but it doesn't cost you anything. But it's important you make sure the car is legal to drive because it is your responsibility, not the seller's. You cannot take their word for it. For the test drive, automatic or manual, you want to go fast enough to make sure you test all of the forward gears to make sure they work, and also test reverse. For a manual, check the clutch. How does the bite point feel? Are the pedals comfortable to use? If you can't get comfortable using the car, consider a different car. Go to a car park, steer the wheel all the way to the right, move. Steer the wheel all the way to the left, move. Are there any strange clicking sounds or any sounds at all? If there are, add it to the list. Go to a bumpy road. Are there any knocks or squeaks coming from the suspension? Or do you just find the car too firm or too soft for your liking? If that's the case, well, you may want to consider a different car. Also, try and test the brakes. So what I'm doing now is I'm just pulling over to let this car past to test the brakes. And to test the brakes, what you want to do is make sure no one's behind you and brake fairly firmly. You shouldn't feel the steering pull to the left or right, but you've got to make sure it's safe before you do that. And ideally, do it on a slightly faster road. So it's a 40 here, I can do it on this little straight, going a bit faster, holding the wheel gently, braking firmly. Yeah, the car did not pull to the left or right. That's what you're looking for. Any problems at all, again, add it to the list. So you've looked around the car and you've got your list of problems. You're not relying on your memory. It's written down in front of you. This is going to help you make a good decision. And the decision you need to make is, what problems are you willing to live with? What problems do you think the seller should sort? What problems do you think you should sort? And what problems do you think you should use to negotiate a lower price? Take into account the price, age, and mileage of the car, but what standard of car you're looking for is up to you. It's your opinion. Don't let the seller tell you, for the age, price, and mileage of the car, it's okay for that to be broken or for that not to be working properly. It's up to you what you deem acceptable and what you're willing to pay for. If you agree with the seller, great, you can move on to the next step. If not, move on, look for another car. Cars are expensive. Fixing them is expensive as well. So in my opinion, it's well worth spending several days of your time finding the right car, because in the long run, it will probably save you money. So you've test driven the car, you still want it, and you've come to an agreeable deal with the seller. There is one final check you must do, and that is a car history check. Link in the description to Car Vertical. I'll put on screen what checks they are going to do. Car Vertical are not sponsoring this video, but hopefully that is an affiliate link, which means I'll get some commission if you do use their service. So I'm not going to bore you with a 90-second ad about them, but for me, the most important thing you're trying to find out is does the car have outstanding finance? Also, mileage and whether or not it's been involved in an accident, that's handy as well. But the outstanding finance is the biggie for me, because if the car has outstanding finance, that car technically still belongs to the bank, not the person selling it to you. And if the bank wants to repossess that car because the payments for the car have not been made, they don't care that you have handed over money to the seller. That's not their interest. The car is theirs, they want it back. So you could lose your purchase price for the car and the car. It's not something you want to risk, which is why one of those checks is so important. I've used various car history checks in the past. The last vehicle I bought, I used Car Vertical, simply because, well, they're everywhere. They sponsor so many channels. It was the first one that came to my mind, but I was happy with how quick and easy they were to use, which is why I'm recommending them to you. Oh, and I usually leave the car history check until the very end of the buying process, just before I hand over the money, because I've got to pay for this history check, and I don't want to pay for it to find out, oh, I'm not even interested in this car because it's got this wrong with it and that wrong with it, and I've just wasted my money. But there is an exception. If the car is far away, then I may pay for the check before I leave, because in that case I think it's worth paying the money before I take that long journey. So if you've done the deal, you've done your checks, you're happy to go ahead with the purchase, then it's time to hand over your money. I don't recommend using cash. I recommend doing it via a bank transfer, or if they have a debit machine, use one of those, because personally for me, I like to have some kind of record of where my money has gone to if I'm spending a lot of money. Then you need to register the car in your name. These days, it's easy. You can do it online. I'll leave a link in the description. You'll need the V5 registered keeper document, the logbook as it's known. The current owner or the dealer should have that. If they don't have it, don't buy it until they have it. That's my advice, because it's just too risky. Once you've registered it in your name, then you need to tax it. You need to tax it straight away. Again, in the description will be a link to how you can tax your vehicle online. It's quick and easy. The only problem is, well, it costs money. Make sure you've got insurance. Obviously, make sure the car has a valid MOT, and then you should be ready to go. Kushti. When you're buying a new car, it's fairly simple. You know what condition the car's going to be in. It's, well, new. When you're buying a used car, well, the condition is question mark. How many previous owners? What were those owners like? What did they do to the car? What's the mileage? What's the age? These things are going to play into the condition of the car. In Great Britain, though, we seem to be obsessed with mileage. Mileage makes a big difference to the value of the car, which is how you can get a bargain. Because high mileage cars are cheaper, yet they're not always worse. You could have an owner who's cherished their car and looked after it, done a lot of miles, but it's in brilliant condition. You could have an owner who's trashed the car and it's rubbish now. It's wrecked, that's a better word, wrecked after 10,000 miles. You don't know until you actually go and inspect the car and have a look at it. How many owners, that can matter as well, because if it's had loads of owners, what's wrong with this car? Is this car a hot potato? Is there a problem that no one can solve and they're passing it on from one person to another because they can't get to the bottom of it? Maybe, not necessarily, but that would concern me. And age. For me, age is more important than mileage, because, well, time is incredibly powerful and it degrades most things given enough time. And, well, with an older car, time isn't exactly on its side. So my advice is, don't be searching for cars under a certain mileage, because you would just be possibly missing out on the best deal. And I recently bought a car, come to think about it, and I looked at 6 cars, and the car I actually ended up buying was the one with the highest mileage. Yet it was the one in the best condition. Well, that's the end of the video, but I have one more tip. If the car has locking wheel nuts, make sure the car has the key for the locking wheel nut, because without this, well, you're not going to be able to get the wheels off when they need to come off, which means you're not going to be able to replace tyres, brakes, suspension work, all kinds of jobs you're not going to be able to do without this, meaning, well, you're going to have a problem. If you found the video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to get my future videos, and until the next one, cheerio.